you considered the messages your outfits send? What do you think your clothes say about you? See, style is about the clothes, but it's not really about the clothes. Every day you make choices about what you're going to wear, but what are you communicating? Welcome to Above and Beyond Style. I'm your host, Maria DiLorenzo, and in 2019, I founded MFD Style, where I provide a unique, intuitive approach to personal styling for those ready to embrace a more meaningful look. With this podcast, I'll uncover key elements of where spirituality, psychology, and style intersect, revealing how you can make intentional wardrobe choices that reflect who you really are. So let me ask you, are you ready to transform into your authentic self? Then it's time. Come with me on this journey, and together we'll take your style above and beyond style. Hey guys, it's so good to be back with you here doing Above and Beyond Style. And this has just been a wonderful adventure for me to learn to express ideas, to share some thoughts and ideas, and to give you food for thought as I'm making my way through my entrepreneurial journey, and also all the various lessons that I'm learning about style and psychology and spirituality, and where all these things really do intersect to make this be my life work. And something that I wanted to spend time with you today in just talking a little bit about, and I'm actually going to do another episode dedicated to this. So this won't be the longest or fullest conversation I have about it, but I've had a lot of people over the course of the last few years ask me about starting a business or being an entrepreneur and having this lifestyle that is really somewhat different and new, not just to me, but I think to a lot of other people. And, I'm in my mid-40s, and I grew up at a time where work sort of looked one way. There was this social construct around work and what it meant to go to work and have a certain number of hours that you were sort of logging in every day, and how you returned on your investment in that regard, that you produced certain aspects of your expertise and got compensated for it. There were benefits that were involved with working for whatever employer that you were hired by. And it served me for a good portion of my career. And I'm very grateful that I had sort of that traditional employment to begin, because I had a wonderful career in higher education. And I really valued my time working with college-age students and learning about their ups and downs and their challenges. And I got to accompany them in so many unique ways. I think back in all the various roles that I held from the several colleges and universities that I worked for. And I feel really privileged to have had the types of relationships and to challenge the young people and to really help understand what they need and to leverage their leadership skills and to help them grow in those really pivotal years. If you can think back to sort of traditional college age of 18 to 22, like all the things that we were learning and experimenting with and failing at. It was really important, I think, for me in my own development to have been a part of that for so many years. And I'm grateful that I had those years of working alongside young people, but I also struggled in my years in higher ed, and some of the aspects. And for anybody that's worked in the industry knows there's a little bit of red tape and there's some bureaucratic, behavior that makes it difficult at times. And I think in some ways it really started to stifle me, and I learned that I wasn't really living my best life, and I wasn't actually being true to myself in a lot of ways as I came to the end of my career. But I share that because I wouldn't do that differently. I wouldn't go back and begin a career as an entrepreneur sooner or anything of that nature, because I think I had to learn the things that I learned from those years in higher ed, and the relationships that I built were deep and profound and truly serve me to this day. So I wouldn't do that differently. But I am sort of envious of this current generation, where I think entrepreneurism is more in the conversation about career and what that could look like for creatives and people that want to launch their own ideas and their own products and services. It just wasn't really part of the ether in my kind of pivotal years as I was thinking about career. So when I've come to this stage of my life now, where entrepreneurism is my lifeblood, and it is something that I have readily stepped into after several years of experimenting and toying with the idea, and really having this sort of heart to heart with myself about, is this something I really want to do? And coming to a very clear yes, that it has given me such joy and purpose that I didn't even really know that I was missing. And I share that because I think everybody should feel that way about work and how you bring in money to live your life. That I was never someone who wanted to work to live. I really wanted to live in the way that gave me my purpose beyond living. And it gave me this knowledge of what I could do with my life that would accompany and really benefit me in a way that felt more complementary to my life. So work and life and sort of all the various aspects that I think we keep on sort of a binary level really became more fluid for me. That I wanted work and life to be in balance with one another. And I wanted to work hard. I wanted to live a beautiful lifestyle, but I also at times didn't want to work as hard, and I still wanted to retain a beautiful lifestyle. So there were a lot of conversations I needed to have, both with myself, trusted advisors, people who knew me and loved me, and come to some clarity and truth about what would entrepreneurism look like for me. Because if you've ever listened to any podcasts around budding entrepreneurs or people that made it and they're looking back on sort of their journey, I think everybody would tell you that there is no linear path and it's not the same for everyone. And in some ways, that's what really agrees with me, because I am not somebody who loves to mimic others. I like to be the maverick or the champion of my own path and really trailblaze that way. I enjoy being the person that maybe hasn't done it before, and let me see if I can do it. I've garnered a lot of encouragement and support over the years for being that type of person, and it has given me a lot of satisfaction to look back and say, yeah, I came into this in my own way. I didn't have to mimic or do things the same way that everybody else did. And that's something that I would offer anybody who's thinking about an entrepreneurial journey, to know that at your core, that while there are plenty of us that will offer our experiences and what we've done or not done, or tips or strategies or different various ideas that maybe we implemented or didn't that helped us or even perhaps hindered us, all of that can be useful. And I'm not suggesting it's not beneficial to go back and to leverage those people and to help inform your own journey through those people. But I would also always encourage you not to forget the intuitive knowing that you have about your own journey and about what entrepreneurism needs to look like for you. And that individualism streak that is in me really thrives knowing, yeah, I do mimic others and their entrepreneurial journey because I've learned from them or I've tried different things that they suggested. But at the end of the day, I've retained this sense of self for me about what does this need to look like and what will truly bring me joy when I think about my work and how I live and the lifestyle that I am cultivating. So I guess the key piece of this conversation that I want to reinforce, the biggest piece of my learning came from mindset and having this commitment to exploring what my mindset was about being an entrepreneur and confronting those real beliefs that I had about success or failure or fear, or what it would look like if everything came crashing down, what would happen, right? Like there's so many different scenarios that I think as we're starting out and establishing this concept for ourselves that require us to do the hard work of what is that self-talk? What are the narratives that are coming through in our minds about being our own, our own boss, owning our own company, having our own lifestyle that is not dependent on anyone else? What does that look like? What are those beliefs that maybe have been sitting there in the back of your mind for many, many years that are now coming forward? And I had to do the hard work over several years of confronting those beliefs and really working through my mindset and understanding what my mindset was and where I needed my mindset to be. And I will tell you more of that story about how I got there, because I think a lot of people wonder that, right? Like they're curious about, well, it had to be more than just like reading good books and having a positive attitude or practicing mindfulness or meditation or prayer, right? Like, yes, all of those things are integral to part of what I did, but there are also other pieces of this story that helped me along that I want to tell you more about. But the bigger focus for me right now, as I'm thinking about people that are engaging me in conversations about entrepreneurism and what it's like to start your own business, I would also offer that this concept of mindset cannot be underestimated. And if you haven't done that work first, I think it's really difficult to launch yourself in a way that's going to be sustainable for you. And I offer that because in 2018, I left higher education. I did not yet have another job lined up. I did spend that summer looking for other higher ed positions. I interviewed heavily. I was a finalist in many jobs, but none of them actually panned out, which looking back was probably divine that I was getting the support and the messages I needed at the time, that those wouldn't have been right jobs for me. And I was lucky enough to also work in retail for a women's boutique that I had worked part-time for many years. And the owner brought me on full time, so I was able to work 40 hours and get, have money coming in, but also continue my exploration for what my next right step needed to be. And I'll tell you, I weighed heavily in that year about launching MFD Style and feeling like this is my time. I had actually just sold my home, my condo. The year before I'd sold my home and moved into a new condo, and I'd made a great profit on that home. So I had some good money in the bank to be able to really launch a business. And I felt like, okay, well, I've got the financial resources. Like, come on, I can just do this. And I hadn't done that mindset work first. And I tell you, that year, I was really plagued with a lot of fear and anxiety. And I give my family and friends so much credit in that year because they were present to me and accompanied me in some really difficult moments when I felt very afraid and very paralyzed by what had I just done? Did I make a mistake leaving higher ed? What else was out there for me? Now, how am I going to make this work, right? And all these various beliefs that were very much active for me in that first year. And gratefully so, I transitioned into corporate role for the next 3 years, where I learned so much about entrepreneurism and small business. I was working remote, so it was really helping me learn what it would be like to work on my own independently without, my supervisor in the next room, or, having this lifestyle of remote work rather, helped me understand what life could look like if I were to move into entrepreneurism. And I am incredibly grateful for those 3 years where I had the opportunity then to work in such a way that felt like I was an entrepreneur, but I also had the headspace and the time to really focus on my mindset. And I will tell you more about the specifics of those few years where I really dug in and I think changed the trajectory of my world, because I did that preliminary work so that come the end of 2021, I was ready. I was really ready to launch my business in such a way that felt like it was always supposed to feel, but I didn't know how to get there from 2018. I needed those additional years to work through some really important pieces. So I want to share this with you today because entrepreneurism isn't for everyone. And I don't think it's the end-all be-all way of career and life and lifestyle. But I have come to understand for myself the true reward of working for myself, having the discipline to move my business forward, to leverage my contacts and the relationships that I have, to ask people to be supportive of me in this work, because it is scary and it can be lonely at times. But I have people in my life who want me to succeed, who are on my side and are cheering me on. And many of you listening to this podcast have expressed that to me. And I'm so grateful, because I didn't know the important role that would play in this entrepreneurial journey. So thank you for listening and being a cheerleader on the sidelines here with me in this style journey, because there is a lot more to come for what this work looks like for me and what I want to do with this work. But I'm also relinquishing the control of knowing exactly what it'll be like, because part of the entrepreneurial journey is the release. It is the letting go of all plans and expectations as I might have done them previously. And I'm learning, yes, there's importance and a purpose and a place for strategy and having a plan. I'm not suggesting, letting it all go in that regard. But I do think from a mental, spiritual, and psychological space, I have learned to have a healthy detachment from outcomes in a way that has, I think, really opened up opportunity for me. So if you are thinking about the entrepreneurial life and what it might mean for you, I am going to share in a couple follow-up episodes what I did and some of the things I learned. And I'm exploring other ways that I might be able to share that information more broadly with those of you that might be interested. But I will reflect back to what I said before about, yes, I think it's valuable to listen to other people's journeys and sort of what they do or don't do. But I can't emphasize enough the importance of listening to your own self and trusting that intuitive knowing and the knowledge that is in your body about what things are right or wrong for you, and following those messages, because it will always serve you to be about you first. And if I can encourage you in any way, it would be not to lose sight of those messages that are very active in your own self first. And then maybe listen to some of the others like me who want to share some of their experience, but not in a way that I'm asking you to mimic or would even encourage you to mimic what I've done, because it's not going to be for everybody. And you will have different expertise and knowledge and information in your own life that will serve you differently than I've had. So there is a lot to come from this, everyone, and I'm grateful that you are asking. And those of you that have asked, keep asking. I'm happy to share what I can and what I've learned, but I also want you to trust that inner knowing and follow the guidance that comes to you about your work, and then just sort of see what happens, because there is some magic to be discovered when you have that healthy detachment and are able to let go. And as some of my friends would often say, just trust and receive all that is meant for you, because there is a lot that we can offer one another in this process. And I hope you will garner some really helpful nuggets along the way from me. So thanks for listening, everybody. I will see you again next time. Thanks so much for listening today. If you enjoyed what you've heard, I would appreciate you taking the time to leave a review on the podcasting platform you're using and share this episode with others who you think might really enjoy these conversations about personal style. For more information all about MFD Style services, you can find me on the web at mfdstyle.com, on Instagram at mfd_style, where I post almost 5 days a week, or send me an email at maria@mfdstyle.com. I also have a weekly email I send to subscribers, so I will include the link to that sign up in the show notes. So until next time, friends, remember to love yourself and then love yourself some more.